country today, you will see clearly that there is no peace, there is no unity, there is no justice, and somehow faith is absent and progress seems to have stalled. You see, what I'm talking about is the incessant killing that is going on in the country at the moment. You know, every time you open the newspaper or you go online, you will see that the family was murdered, or either the family was murdered or a reverend father was murdered, or somebody killed somebody, you know. And this constant loss of human lives, it affects people. It affects the mental health of people. Because of this insecurity that has become a major issue, you know, a lot of people are apprehensive. A lot of people are anxious. A lot of people are scared, you know, because they are worried that they may go out of their house one day and they never come back, because they may be a victim to some of these attacks. Take a look at it. Banditry, religious killings, you know, police brutality, corruption, all this goes on to create food shortages and make life much more difficult than it ought to be. You know, people that are supposed to be protecting us are now being the one betraying us. Police officers, army personnel, lawyers, politicians, you know, and all this makes it difficult for the average Nigerian to function. So, this thing affects mental health, like I said, you know, because when you don't feel safe in a place, it's going to affect how you are going to operate or how you are going to work. Because if you don't feel safe in a place, what you are going to do is you are going to be always apprehensive. You're always going to be worried. This news, it makes people sad to see that every day they wake up to someone being murdered. You see, this, like I said, this insecurity, right? It threatens the livelihood of people too. And you know, how can you be safe? How can you be comfortable in a country that seems like it's going to divide at any moment? And that's when you look at Nigeria, that is what you get. You get the feeling that it's only a matter of time before this country is going to collapse. That's what you get. So that is the source of stress to many people. And from what I've seen, the research I have covered, what I see is that a lot of people that present with mental illness in the hospitals as a result of stress. A lot of them is because of stress. The stress they go through on a daily basis. You know, look at people that are like maybe all these people that sell food on the street. Just imagine the stress they deal with every day. Being out there in the hot sun, taking insults, running from one car to the next, trying to make sales. Just imagine the kind of stress these people go through every day to make a buck. And there's also some people that are out there on the street 24 hours looking for money. You understand what I'm saying? So when I say this thing is stress, and a lot of people that present in the hospitals is as a result of stress. And all these insecurity issues that is going on in the country makes it difficult for a lot of people to function because it creates stress for them. You know? Another thing I want to talk about when I'm talking about this issue of mental illness, right, is there's a conception, there's a mistake we make, a lot of people make. When I talk about mental illness, they always talk about it in, like as if we live in a bubble, you know, like as if we don't live in an environment. But the reality is we live in an environment, you know, and when you're talking about mental health, you also have to take into consideration where you live, your environment. And what is your environment? Your environment majorly is the living and non-living things that surround you. You know? And why is the environment important? It's important because your environment influences you, it affects you. You understand what I'm saying? A good example is that if you come into a room that is dirty, it's going to affect you somehow. It's going to make you kind of anxious, you want to leave. It's going to make you sad. It's not going to make you comfortable, you know? But if you're in a room or a place that is well kept, everything is clean, everything is in order, you're going to feel comfortable, you know? And what I'm talking about, take a look at the Nigerian environment. Just take a look at the Nigerian environment. There's air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, soil erosion, deforestation, oil spillage, keep on going, I can keep on going. All these things makes the environment very, very toxic. Understand? And you cannot have optimal mental health if your environment is very toxic. And this environment thing is something that we don't pay attention to, especially when the issue of mental health comes up. The environment gets neglected, but the environment is very, very important, because if your environment is not healthy, there is no way you're going to operate optimally. There's no way your mental health is going to be optimal if your environment is not in order. And that is what we're having in Nigeria. Our environment is not in order. There is always sewage. The canals are always open. There's sewage everywhere. Sewage in the canal, sewage on the street, sewage on the road. People not respecting anything. People blowing gas fumes everywhere, and people coughing and soot everything. Everything is a mess. So how can people operate optimally when they're in a toxic environment? The UN, right? The UN has this how would I say? According to the UN, everyone has a right to health. In any country you are, you have a right to health. And basically, your right to health just means that you have a right to live in an environment where you can operate optimally. You understand what I'm saying? That's just what it means. But then, if you take this thing, if you take this right seriously, what are we saying that we're doing in Nigeria? That means that we are not creating an environment where people can live optimally. We're not creating that environment in Nigeria. You understand? And this is very, very sad, because a lot of children are being born with health problems. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of children are being born with health problems. A lot of us are having asthma. A lot of us are having eye problems and stuff. And it's all because of all this pollution. You see, they say 80 to 90% of people who have mental health issues cannot even have access to medical help. They can't. Because, you may ask, the reason for that is our medical health system is underfunded. And I know this. I didn't read it or I wasn't told. I know this. I've been to hospitals where I've been told that they don't have a particular medicine that people need. Just imagine that. Or you as a father, you go with your child to the government hospitals and you find out that the medicine that they are trying to give you is not good for your child. You understand? They tell you that this is what they have and that's what you have to buy. Or the medicine can be too expensive, you cannot afford it. And that's true, because a lot of people are suffering. You understand? A lot of people don't have access to the medical help that they need. They don't have it. And that's very sad. And when our hospitals are underfunded, the psychiatrists and psychologists are overworked. You understand what I'm saying? There's no money for research. You understand? There's no money for research. The equipment they have is either outdated or is no longer in use. So all this thing makes it difficult. That is why when someone has mental health issues, it's difficult for them to identify the problem the person has. And when they identify it, it's usually too late. And when it's even too late and it's finally identified, to non-treat it becomes a problem. Because sometimes you go to the hospitals, the medicine you need, they don't have it. People don't talk about it much, probably because psychiatrists don't talk about it much because maybe they feel they may get in trouble. But that's the truth. Sometimes they don't have the medicine you need. Just imagine that. You are someone that you're managing with your 30,000 a month. You go to the hospital, they don't have the medicine you need. And now you have to watch your child to tolerate. And the thing about these mental health issues is that when you have a mental health challenge, right, what you realize is that once it's detected early, it can be changed. But that is not the situation here. It's detected late. And when it's detected, it cannot be treated because you don't have the medicine. There's no access. So this thing creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of problems for people who have mental health issues. And the way we are going, a lot more people will have mental health issues if this mental health issues thing is not taken seriously. With all this going on, right, our productivity is affected when our mental health issues is not taken into consideration and the environment is not made to be adequate. Our productivity is affected. I remember when I was working in a hospital, I used to go from Lekki down to the hospital. It used to take me like 45 minutes. But I found out that by the time I get to the hospital, I'm always tired. Because I have driven in a bus, the noise, the smoke, the shaking up and down on the road, it makes when I get to the hospital, I'm so tired. You understand what I'm saying? And that affects productivity. But if the road was good and there was no pollution, when I get to hospital, I can get to work. So, this thing I'm talking about, this issue of mental health is very, very important. And I think, and why is it important is I think that if we can take care of our mental health, we can operate optimally. You understand what I'm saying? So, for closing, what I suggest is number one, we should make our mental health a priority. And how we can do that is by having seminars, like this. But seminars like this are important. But what I want is not just having the seminars, where experts sit down and they talk about it and we clap and say, oh, and make it a grand affair, pictures are taken and it adds to our resume. No. What I really want is we have a seminar, right, whereby the lowest common people, the common people can get access to the information. The woman friend around the streets can get access to that information. People that who are not in the common people can get access to it because they are the ones that need that information. You understand what I'm saying? They are the ones that need it. And again, another way we can prioritize our mental health is in movies, Nigerian movies. What I see in those movies is a lot of misinformation. They present mental health people as people who are dirty, clothes are torn, but that's not true. A lot of people who wear clean clothes and clean shoes, they have mental health issues. It's just we don't talk about it. So, and I also feel that the government needs to fund it better. If the government funds it better, people who need help can actually get help. And then the issue should be talked about more so that stigmatization as associated with mental health can be reduced. These are the ways I feel that mental health can be addressed. So this is what I have to say on this issue, and I hope you enjoyed this. So shoot me a like. You can leave a comment section on whatever you feel or what you think I should talk about. And I really enjoyed it. So have a great one. Bye for now. And it's the Dark Prophet.